Good evening and welcome to the September 22nd Planning Commission. Mr. Secretary, would you call roll, please?
Yes. Mr. Hall,
Here.
Ms. Means Davis,
Here.
Ms. Tinsley Price,
Here.
Mr. Cassidy,
Here.
Mr. Schuler,
Here.
Mr. Garrett,
Here.
Mr. Lux,
Here.
Mr. Comstock.
Here.
Good. Everybody's here tonight. Motion on the
Make a motion to approve the minutes. I'll second.
second, all in favor?
Aye.
Minutes are approved. Business tonight, Mr. Secretary, could you
Yes.
read it? And if the petitioner would walk to the podium, please.
The only item under new business this evening is PC 2025-11. It's the rezone of 534 South Miller Avenue. Petitioner this evening and the representative is Jacob Bratton. The owner's name, current owner, is Westside Pilgrim Holiness Wesleyan Church. Address of the property is 534 Miller Avenue. Zoning classification currently is IS institutional, and the request is for BN business neighborhood. And again, the action requested is rezone of a parcel approximately 1.15 acres from IS to BN.
Welcome, Mr. Bratton.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Appreciate your time tonight. Like Adam said, we're looking at the old Westside Wesleyan Church is its most recent name out there. It's at the corner of Miller and Dunn. And I will tell you that this is going to change just a little bit. This was based on GIS data, and I had it surveyed, and we've actually picked up a little bit on the southern edge of the property, so that makes it a little easier on parking or whatever. I can answer some questions about that as we go. This last was used as a church. It's been a while. It's been empty for quite some time. They listed it for sale and just didn't have a whole lot of interest. So we looked at it. We think this would make a great conversion for apartments. That's our planned use. I've worked with Adam and Mike with planning. Tyler's been down there and looked at it for some parking. I've worked with Rod and Darren have both looked at the building to make sure that we can do it from a permitting and building standpoint to make sure this will make a good conversion. I'd love to take this building and convert it to apartments because I think that's a productive use. There's apartments across the street there. They will be on the smaller side apartments. There'll be one bedroom, one bath, but they'll be super efficient, all brand new units. We're going to have good means of egress in all of them. I've worked through that with my architect. It's Tony Nicholson here at Space and Sites is working on plans. Fully permitted. We'll go through the state for any construction design releases we need. And then obviously the city will oversee these units. Happy to answer any questions you guys have, walk you through what our plans are, how I operate my properties here in town, any other questions.
Okay. Mr. Hall.
No questions at this time.
Ms. Means Davis.
It might seem like a silly question, but I just am curious.
Yes, ma'am.
How are you planning on taking care of like garbage sort of things? Like where are you going to put toters, that sort of thing?
Well, so we're going to have a dumpster on this property, and most likely now, I was thinking we put it back in the corner on Dunn, but we've actually got a little bit more. We've got about 15 to 20 feet more space than what this shows, so it makes it easier because we're going to shift our handicap parking to behind it on Dunn, and then we can have a dumpster enclosure back there as well. So that actually gains a little space. And I don't actually have official on that yet, but Scott Summerford went out on Friday and marked where he thought about where the property line was, and that lines up with the historic lots across Dunn and where the fences used to be on those properties if you look back through like the old historic images. So I think that'll be pretty close to where it ends up being. So that'll shift our site plan slightly to allow for more parking and some more dumpster access in the back there.
No
Ms. Tinsley Price. Mr. Schuler.
Oh, I got a few.
Easy ones first, please.
I'm sorry.
Easy ones first.
Yeah.
Okay, these are easy ones.
Okay.
What's the current square footage that you're gonna put the apartments in?
It's right at 4,000 square feet for the building. So it's
Okay.
kind of a split level. It's about 2,100 on each, and then we burn up some with like some stairwell and stuff. We've got to have fire corridors down the center, so there's a means of egress on like the back. If you can look on this, you kind of see where the ramp kind of goes down right there. So there's a door out there they're basically mirrored on each floor. So that'll be our second means of egress. And there's kind of a fire corridor that goes, an L-shaped corridor that goes out the front and then out that side. And each floor will have access out that way and out the front door. So we
Okay.
burn up a little bit with some fire corridors. But yeah, it's right at just over 4,000 square feet of usable space.
Okay. And what's the plan as far as the square footage layout of the actual apartments?
So they should be plus or minus 400 square feet an apartment. So, but everyone gets its own bath, kitchen, living room. They won't be studio. They'll actually have a dedicated bedroom with a closet. And then each one of them has a separate bathroom. Washer and dryer will be shared facilities at the front of the building, but there will be it's planned right now is 2 units each. So we should have plenty of capacity so they don't have any issues with that.
Okay. I think that's all for the moment. Thank
No, my question has been answered to completion.
Be concerned of the plumbing capacity, the infrastructure of the plumbing. So I don't know who's evaluating that, but
So we pulled elevation on the manholes, and we should have plenty of fall from the building out. There's currently a few restrooms in the basement of the building. So we're adding 6 toilets, but we have enough water service to service it according to what my plumber thinks. And the sizing on the lateral to the sewer appears like we'll have enough capacity with that as well.
so it sounds like based on the numbers you provided, no more than 9 units.
We're at 8 is what we can fit in there. Yeah.
Okay, no further questions.
Yeah, you said that Scott was out there surveying it. Is it completed?
He's got it. He's got chalk lines on the sidewalk and stuff. I went down Saturday and talked to some of my neighbors and stuff and about how, timing on that. Cause I think as part of this, we're gonna have to do some screening as part of our rezone between the things. So deciding where we're gonna put that fence and where we're gonna put some of the buffer, and I'll work with Adam and Mike. I think we'll probably end up doing a variance on some of that because we have to stay so far back from our fence from each road. So that doesn't quite get us as much screening as we need. So we'll cross that bridge once we finalize the site plan. But
Given that your law background, are you getting an Alta survey on this or just a plain boundary survey?
I'm gonna have him set pins. I don't know if we'll do a full alter or not, but he is gonna do a boundary survey, and he's actually gonna reset the pins on the platted lots out there.
What I'd ask is when you have those pinned, if we can maybe go out there, we can look at them together, see where they're at, plus or minus from where we think it is. Not only the southern corners, I'm curious to see where that northern corner is as well for what you show proposed. That way we can just kind of get a good idea.
And I think the issue with the GIS reflection versus what actually happened is the property on the GIS shows it coming to a point, and it on the old plat of the neighborhood, it's kind of squared off at the top. So where it squared off, the length on the GIS is correct, but they did it to where the points met and not from the square off. So if you do the square off, it actually, the length of the lot is right, but by shifting it up to a point, it made that southern line of the property shift up that 15 or so feet, whatever it is.
I always joke with Adam, GIS stands for get it surveyed. Remember that.
And I thought we had, I always base it on GIS to know if we can, to check and see if it's plausible, and then get it surveyed on the back end just to confirm that before we start building anything.
Yeah, I think once you get that drawn up, then you can actually start putting some layout together. One thing that we noted was some of that street parking. You might lose a little bit just because parallel parking needs to be a little longer.
Mhm.
But I think really you can't get too far into it until you have your drawing here.
Yeah.
So,
Yep, and we should pick up a couple extra spots of off-street with being able to put them, a curb cut on, done back there, and that'll pick us up at least one handicap plus another one,
Yeah.
leaving that.
one thing I noticed today, actually, when it was raining, I think it was Betsy that was discussing this, those parking islands right in front of the old bicycle shop. One thing we need to look at is that actually held water today. I saw that because that gutter line wants the water to flow. So what we might have to do is some kind of turnout in there where you maintain the gutter, but yet you still have the proposed islands. So we just want to make sure we work together
Yeah.
to make sure we're not cutting off any drainage or
Yeah.
anything. So,
And I think we've done that before where we give it like a 2-foot buffer and then
Mhm.
start our island so that there's,
Yep.
a little bit of room there and. Okay. Good thoughts, thank you.
I think that's it for me.
Thank you. Is this one of your projects?
Yes, sir, yeah, this will be mine.
How many other apartments do you have around town?
How many do I have right now?
Yeah, roughly?
10 right now, and then some commercial properties here in town.
Okay. And
So-
you're involved in all of them?
Yeah,
When you check
when,
them out, you make sure
when
there's,
people have a problem, they have my cell phone number. I don't use a property manager, I don't use anybody else. They've got my number, and I generally try to, the neighbors call me and the tenants call me when they have issues. I have contractors I use, but everything is routed through me.
okay,
So,
thank you. Any more questions? Okay, go ahead.
Just driving by and walking by, because it is really close to my neighborhood too. At the back of the church right now, there's a great big, like ramp sort of thing. I assume that goes partly into a neighbor's, that used to be part, that's all part of it too.
yeah,
I've noticed vehicles parked up in close to that now, so I was a little curious.
the GIS shows that the ramp is on the neighbor's property. The survey shows that it's on the church property.
Okay.
So, and it's no one's fault. The church owned all these at one point, and that, it's just been, it gets messy after all these years. So hadn't been a survey done in years that I could find. The pins, we fished around out there in the metal detector. There's no pins or anything. So, we did our best guess, and then that's why we just hired a survey ultimately, because it looks weird because you can see where the fences and stuff used to be, where they're at now, where the lot lines are, and the cross done. So it's easiest for us to just get it done, and then I'll work with Tyler and the city to make sure we can get the pins put in there, and that way everyone just has them from a reference point moving forward.
Thank you. I'll close this to the board right now, and I'll ask anybody from the public, if you have any questions, to come up, state your name and your address and ask your question. And then once those are all done, I'll ask Mr. Bratton to come up to address those questions. So if you want to say something, come on up.
I'll introduce myself. Some of you know me, some don't. I've been doing business for about 37 years in Shelby County. I was at Shelby County Auction, and I've had several other businesses. I was interested in this building myself. I put an offer on it, but we were like a little bit different on it.
What is your name, sir? Just for our records. We audio tape this. So what is your name for the records, please?
My name's William West.
Thank you.
I live at 535 Dunn Avenue. I've been there since May. I'm probably more familiar with the area than anybody in here. Look like I'm older than anybody in here. I went to school at Hendricks there, which it's apartments now. Kurt's 5 Point, well, the V, I own that. I've owned 5 houses there in the area. Yeah, of course I don't now. I just got the one. I'm not here against Mr. Bratton. He's a perfectly good gentleman, okay? Never met him in my life until the other day. I have a disagreement on the survey. The surveyor never found any pins from the old surveys, okay? My shed, if I open my shed, I'm gonna be on his property if this goes through, which I don't have the map up there, but anyway, he was under the understanding that he was gonna buy what we thought we was gonna have. I got a paper here. But like I said, that neighborhood, I grew up in, I walked by it when I was 6 years old. I went to school there. The church was only in the basement. They built the top on the church. I've got another question. I've been in construction business for about 20-some years. I'm just kind of curious if you're gonna put seven units, 6 units? 8 units? Can you imagine living in a little box with 8 people trying to get along the way it is now? And again, I'm not against him. Whatever agreed on is agreed on. But I can't imagine that many people. There's very shortage of parking, but there at 5 Points, they did cut the curb back and make parking for Edward Jones. Is that it? They made a side parking there for him. I don't know if he's thinking of the same thing, but I don't know about the septic system, the sewer, if it can handle that many people in that small area. My house is next to it, but I have no complaints rather than the dumpster, because that's gonna be with me at my door. I see a problem with the parking, but here again, I'm not against him. I mean, if that's what you all decide, that's fine. But I am against the survey, and I showed him, I showed Mr. Bratton where I thought it was. I had a paper. I don't know what I've done with it. I'm a little shaky. I'm on medication. This is the one. Want to pass it? Can you pass it? This is the one that the courthouse gave me. I was under the impression that ramp is somewhat big if you look at it. That's, like I said, that's what the courthouse gave me. That's what I was going on when I purchased it. And, but I'd like to see your plans on, on the roof. I could see maybe a double. People maybe a double for the parking in the situation, but for eight units, remember the Kennedy Hotel? No, you're all too young. Do you? But I've watched a lot of this go on, and I'd say the police department would be there a lot. I've got one next door to me, and if he says this is not going to be a group home or a new life situation, where you're out on parole, where you're, in other words, pedophiles, background checks would have to be extensive. But I just can't imagine living in a little box. Could you live like that? But a double, it's big enough for, my house is as big as that church almost. I've got a full basement and upstairs and a ground level. And, but my main problem is, I know I'm gonna be looking at a dumpster, okay? I agree with the fence. I'm gonna have to move my shed. I didn't buy that to move nothing, and I didn't buy it to get shorted on land. And I'm sure he's not buying the same way. And again, I'm very familiar with the area. There've been some shootings up there. I hate to say it, but it's my grandson. He got 17 years off of Hendricks Apartments there. And I kind of know what's in the area. And as I said, I've been there for many years. At 6, 7 years old, I ate lunch or breakfast every morning at the Lucky 7 Cafe. And it just brings back, I bought 5 Points there to keep it from being tore down, which, it's a nice building. So I got a little knowledge. I've owned over 50 homes here in Shelbyville. I don't own them now. I'm broke now almost, but I have nothing against this man. But when you put that many people in that little box, you're going to have problems. But as I said, there's going to be a parking problem. And I don't see how the septic systems are, but here I go. I've lived in the country a lot. The sewer systems, I can't see handling that many people doing laundry. Who's going to argue over the laundromat in the building? Everybody wants to do it once. In today's world, you can't get along. I mean, that's obvious. So with that being said, like I said, the only issue I've got is on this survey.
Hey, sir, may I ask him a question?
Yeah.
So you said you've been in the property for 2 years?
No. I just got that property.
Okay, so you just got that property. When you purchased that property, did you get a survey done on that?
I paid for a survey that they took off of what I passed around there.
Okay.
That's the survey I got.
Okay.
I paid for it.
So
They didn't come down and, because there was no destination found, okay?
Yep.
So what we got to look at is what's been passed down since 1938.
So the way this works is he got his survey on his property. If you have any disagreements, the way it works is it's a civil matter between you two. You would then need to get a survey done on your portion, and then the two surveyors can have the discussion.
I really don't, I really don't want no more involvement in it. I'll be 78 years old. And I'm just trying to protect what little I saved during my life. If they move a bunch of people in as pedophiles or whatever, what's our property gonna be worth?
Right.
I mean, people don't want to live with that. I can get a pretty good buzz if I walk on my porch right now, I can get a pretty good high right now, if you know what I'm saying. They got a correctional place on the street, on Dunn Avenue. There's no problem there. It's girls. But you put that many boys there, you better lock the car at night.
Some of the, Mr. West, some of those things are beyond our purview, what we can,
Oh,
what we can do, and
I
it's just,
understand. I'm just
you know,
giving you a
just-
little brief on the neighborhood.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to cause them trouble.
no, I understand.
I'm just making what I've saved for through my life, I'm living in,
Sure.
okay? I want to try to protect that. That's in my best interest. And like I said, I'm not objecting to anything the man does. I like him. He's a good guy. But as I said, I'm trying to protect my interest in my
Understand.
home. And you guys asked some pretty good questions about the trash. That's gonna be my deal. Well, then you know what I'm talking about. Back in the day, when Shelbyville was small, I mean, it's the same size, but I'm talking about population wise. These streets and stuff are so narrow. Matter of fact, I've almost got in a fist fight back in the trailer in my driveway. Guy stopped and cussed me and told me, I know where you live. I had a woman on one of them little buggies, stick her tongue out at me, just driving by, and I'm like, what's that for? What I do, and I've seen enough to know that if you move the wrong people in, you're gonna have problems, which that can happen anywhere. That can happen anywhere. But I could sit and tell you all kinds of stories about the neighborhood. Like I said, I've owned houses on Taylor Street. I owned where they put the new brick apartments. I owned that. We owned one up by D&S Tractor Sales, if you remember where that's at, going out towards Western. We had apartments there. We had doubles there. I was up there all the time, correcting things. But like I said, only thing I really disagree with is on the survey. If it comes out the way it is now, I've got to move my shed. That's gonna be an expense to me. I'm on a fixed income, even though, I got the money, but I'm just saying I shouldn't have to pay to have something done that when I bought, even the realtor that's selling it. If he was here, he'd tell you, he thought it went to the telephone pole also on my property. So
Tyler made a good statement earlier. He said GIS stands for Get It Surveyed.
Yeah,
Like,
and
my next door neighbor and I, we love each other. They're great people, but there's still little areas like, is this yours or is it mine? But we're just good neighbors to each
I'm
other.
not gonna argue with a few feet of ground. I mean, we're talking 8 to 10 feet is my problem. Now, coming off, which wouldn't hurt him at all. But that's where he's gonna put his dumpster, and that's in my door.
Jacob,
I have a problem
Do-
with it. I mean,
you saw roughly where this line is. Does it line up roughly with that white fence? Or is it further south?
It lines up where the white fence was before he moved it a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
And then it lines up. Can we pull up GIS on one of these and I can show you?
yeah, go ahead.
So-
I'm
One thing I was gonna say, just try to help us move along here, is Jacob's here for the long haul. He's from Shelbyville. I think he's more than welcome to help you. One thing that I'm seeing from an aerial view, and Jacob, I'm sorry if I'm speaking for you. You feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, but it looks like the orientation of your shed is to the north, which means you have to go onto his property currently to get out of your shed. I think Jacob would be more than willing to work with you. It looks like that size of a shed, you might be able to turn it 90 degrees to where the egress is on your property, and it also helps get off his property.
he's moving the ramp. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt, but he's moving the ramp. That's not the problem.
Yeah.
The problem is,
I think that shed,
Turn your shed 90 degrees.
and it fits. I think
still-
it'll
Still
fit.
won't do it. I mean, 8x8's 8x8, 10x10's 10x10. You know what I'm saying? You can turn it any way you want to turn it.
Yeah, I think you guys can work together. Let's, to move along, I think the best thing to do is, let's get that south line staked per the survey. Let's see where that south line is, and then you guys can start having that conversation
Well, you
about
can
what,
see-
what
you
needs to
can
be
see
done.
My point, when there was no destination on the survey, which way does it go? Does it go my way? Does it go his way? It's on paper. There's no verification. There's nothing there to measure by. The surveyor told me I was on mouth. There's something ain't right here, which,
Is that something?
It's, the
Time
survey
to
is,
add?
the survey is very legal. This is, I believe Jacob even mentioned it. It's a platted subdivision, which means there's a lot of information to establish those corners and section corners in the area. So it can be established, and I would say that's very legal.
Once he does that, this is just me thinking it, if it's going where it's not where he thinks it should be, that's something he should take up with the,
so you can do this without a
at the
destination, right?
counties
Well,
where
you
it's
gotta-
registered and not, hang on, just, Mr. West, is that something that he should take up with the county if it's not?
No,
Or the
the
city.
county won't have anything to do with this. So it then becomes a civil matter.
Okay,
It's just like a fence dispute. When I was in the
Sure.
survey industry for all those years, I got so many calls, his fence is on my property. Well, what happens is both the property that has the issue should hire a surveyor, establish the line, and then which Jacob is hiring a surveyor, not because he has an issue, but to establish the line in the first place. And then if he has an issue with it, he should hire an independent surveyor to then do the check from his side. What I think you'll find is it's the same line.
that's all.
And then that is what
Do
would
you
go
know
to
that for a
court.
fact? Do you?
Yeah, yes, yeah.
No, you measured it? You surveyed it?
I need to sit for my surveyor exam.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
a licensed engineer.
Okay,
I
well,
can sit for
I'm
my.
a licensed auctioneer, but that don't mean nothing. I mean, I can be wrong about something. Give me the benefit of the doubt, fella. I mean,
Yeah.
don't make it.
No, I'm just saying that's how it works is each
It sounds like you
individual.
already got your decision, but anyway, it don't
Okay.
matter. I mean, I'm not gonna argue over a few feet of ground but I will absolutely sue Wesley Church for selling me something that's not there. So it will be a court issue. Like you said, it's civil, Matter of fact, I can sell real estate also. That's, I've licensed, bonded, and, had the license for 30-some years. So, I know a little bit about what's going on, so.
Okay.
And even if it's right, it's not, it's all wrong from my point of view to sell you something that's not there. And I was under the impression by that little paper I gave you, I was kind of under the impression that, which he was too. Am I not right? You was willing to buy that, so maybe me and you can work something out there. I mean, you was willing to go along with the original, the guy moved his fence. They said they would go along with that. Well, that's what he did. He moved the fence because they said they agreed to what we came up with, on the telephone pole on that
Okay.
view. So now he's got to move his fence.
Well, you guys can work that out. I mean, that's probably behind our purview, so that's more than what we can decide, so you guys can work
Oh,
that
yeah,
out.
I'm not asking
So
you
we
to
just
decide
need-
that. I'm just expressing my thoughts
Okay,
to the board. That's all I'm doing.
all right.
So,
Thank you.
thank you.
So anybody else in the public that'd like to say anything? I see there's nobody. I'll close the public comment. We have any more comments from the board? Or Jake, step back up there and.
Yeah, and again, I don't mean to block anybody's access. The survey is a separate issue from here, but that's one I'm happy to deal with my neighbors on. Like, someone said, I'm from here. This is where I grew up. My family's been here 3 or 4 generations. This is where all my properties are, my businesses are. I have a vested interest in the neighborhood. I own the coffee shop right down there. We did that building. We took the old harvester and redid that. So I'm invested on that side of town. I'm invested in Shelbyville, and I want to be a good steward of the community. And, I operate my properties like that. Just a couple quick points. I'll answer some of the questions. I get it. It's tough. It is tough to get along nowadays. I've got some other apartments on Franklin Street that are about this size, 1 bedroom, 1 bath. They're 5 units all together. I have great tenants down there. I usually get either young people that are just getting their first place. It's affordable for them. I get guys that blue collar factory type people that just want to come home after a long day, have a comfortable place where, you know, they don't have to worry about cutting the grass or doing anything else. They can just be there. These apartments down here will be all in, so utilities and everything will be included, but that doesn't mean it's going to be a certain type of tenant. We run comprehensive background checks, credit checks. I require employment verification, all that stuff, because that's selfishly, it's easier for me, right? Like that's just what it is for me. Because I have plus or minus 10 units here in town. And in the past 2 years, I've had 1 turnover, and that's because I had a tenant pass away. I set affordable rates. I take care of the properties. I don't have people ever leave. You know, it's people move away or they have a kid, need a bigger place. We've had that happen a couple times where we moved them from one of our 1 bedrooms and into a 2 bedroom. So, you know, I try to be a good landlord. I try to treat them with what I would want to be treated. Not saying these won't be tight apartments, but what I'm saying is this will give someone an opportunity to afford their own place or to save up for their own house or something here in town while they're living here, and we'll make it a nice and affordable place to live while they're doing it. And I think that's, you know, mentions about some bad area. We're not going to do a group home. We'll just nix that one right there. Bad area. I'm trying to clean it up, right? We're not going to do much to the exterior of the building except clean it up, do some landscaping. Mostly interior. We are going to do we got some cool plans at the interior. We're going to leave the tall ceilings inside, you know, do some of that, leave the tall ceilings. So it will be a unique place to live. It'll be a comfortable place to live. It'll all be new and neat. So I think it would be a great project. I believe in the west side over there. Like I said, I'm vested. My business and everything is over there. So I hope we can do this, and I hope it's a great property, and I look forward to, you know, coming in front of you guys and expanding after we get this one done. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other comments from the board? If not, I'll look, this will be a favorable and non-favorable back to city council.
I would like to make a motion to forward a favorable recommendation for the rezone petition presented before this body, rezoning from the IS institutional zoning classification to the BN business neighborhood classification pursuant to planning staff's report and finding of the facts.
I second.
I have a motion and a second. We'll pass the ballots down.
This is a motion for favorable recommendation on PC 2025-11. Mr. Comstock, yes. Mr. Lux, yes. Mr. Garrett, yes. Mr. Hall, yes. Ms. Means Davis, yes. Ms. Tinsley Price, yes. Mr. Cassidy, yes. Mr. Schuler, yes. Motion carries.
Good luck. Be nice to see it done. Discussion, we do have some people in the audience that need to come up and speech and tell us what you're doing here and what you're doing in life. Come on. The longer you wait, the longer we'll be here.
Wait, okay, what do we say?
The longer you wait, the longer we will be.
Okay, I'm Sophia Asher. I plan to go to a 4-year college to study actuarial science.
I'm Bailey Frazier, and I think I want to study occupational therapy.
Thank you. Adam, do you have anything for us?
The agenda says none, but I'll give a little update. We're trying to schedule, I only heard back from 2 people. We're trying to schedule with the group, the committee. the committee that's working on the BN district amendments. We put that on pause when Red left, and Mike had started, and I was out for a while. But we've brought that back, and I'm gonna send out another email with new date options, so those of you in the room respond to that, and then we'll, but we're hoping to bring that back before the Plan Commission, maybe in a couple months, so, but that's it.
Thank you.
Lesson of the night, especially you students. If you buy property, get it surveyed.
Yes, absolutely.
Motion adjourned. So be it.